Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 6, Episode 39, where we watch The Courtship, Season 1, Episode 1. And the average podcaster is made up of 70% water and 30% meringue. I'm Chris Lorenz.
Go on, give me a podcast. This is Brian.
Follow my sense. This is Monsignor Max.
If this is your first time listening to us, we watch a different reality show each week, figuring out if it's good or bad, and discussing it in minute detail. Last time, we watched The Ultimatum, Marry or Move On, and we put up a poll on Twitter at Who Put This On. You guys in the audience voted. We had a top third and bottom third tie, so some people agreed with us, some people didn't. Anyway, Brian, what show do we watch this week?
This week, we watched The Courtship. One woman searches for love in a Regency-era setting and a classic twist on modern dating. The immersive, romantic experience unfolds across the English countryside as she sets out to find her perfect match, with her family by her side, advising her along the way. Competing for her time and attention are gentlemen suitors, all hoping to be the admirer who wins their heart in the end. Featuring extravagant balls, handwritten love letters, horseback rides, and much more, this unique courtship leaves behind everyday distractions and reconnects a timeless tradition. That was The Courtship, which was first on NBC, if I remember correctly, and now is on USA.
And Peacock. Can't forget the Peacock.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
It's on the Peacock. We watched it on the Peacocks. Yeah. So this show has a really long show description. Way to go, Brian. Is The Bachelor, but role play.
Bachelorette.
Bachelorette, correct. But role play.
Yeah. Bachelorette, but Jane Austen.
Yeah. So the original name of the show was Pride and Prejudice, an Experiment in Romance.
Wait, really?
Yeah. That was a pretty good Seinfeld joke.
Well, according to multiple websites that read the same marketing copy, that's what it is.
Based on the number of times they dropped Jane Austen, I believe it.
Yeah, they were definitely name dropping Jane Austen a lot. Yeah, so the Bachelorette is Miss Nicole Remy. But in this version of the Bachelorette, the parents show up. So you got Mr. and Mrs. Remy there, and you've got the best friends, Tessa Cleary. It's her best friend. And you got Mrs. Baker, her sister. And they do pretty much jack shit this whole episode, so maybe in future episodes they do stuff.
Okay. I have a slight disagreement. Like, they did some good stuff. Like, they're kind of good as a peanut gallery, but like...
So... This show generally has momentum and anti-momentum at the same time, but they're not in what we saw like at all.
They did not.
I can't blame them because they were given a task, but they didn't make the edit of the show, really.
There was absolutely nothing about this. Like, they are just wearing fancy clothes, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the idea is that, they would help interview some of the guys, and you see them talking to the guys, but you don't see the results of that, really.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's 16 gentlemen, and at the end of the episode, they kick off 3 of them. So this episode, they all sent letters using they all had to take calligraphy lessons. So there's a whole letter segment, and then they do this. They kind of do an intro outside the mansion, but not really. It's very weird. Then they meet the Bachelorette in some sort of ballroom-esque scenario. Then 6 of them go into a smaller room, and I think this is where the extraneous people pick these 6 people, and then Miss Remy gets to pick one person that goes on a one-on-one date. Then there's a last dance ceremony where she dances with everyone and kicks 3 people off.
She dances with 6 people, and she kicks 3 of them off. Yes.
Okay. She picks 3, kicks them off. Now, all of those segments are really boring.
Yeah.
I think I started checking out as soon as they started introing the guys because it was terrible. I didn't understand what they were going for in this introduction at all.
Just giving them a little time to show off, and it was not good enough. Like, I don't care about like what you were in college. It's like just interact with one another.
It's also weird that there were two different formats of introductions. So during the letters phase, sometimes they would have a pre-recorded like, yo, I'm Chad. I'm from New Jersey and I love baseball. While the guy's, flexing a little bit. And then they would also have like an in-person, intro to the guys where they're standing outside the castle. It made no sense.
Now that you mentioned that, I like that they actually changed it up a little bit, but they still didn't do it well.
This is the main challenge of these shows. Is you've got 16 people. How do you get me to care to watch these 50 minutes of television? And I guess you have 20 people. Now, do you just mainly show 5 to like 8 to maybe 10 people? Or do you try to show all 20? And every time you try to show all 20, it is no good. It just doesn't work.
So they kind of did that. Like, she didn't get enough time to interact with most of them anyway. Like, those 6 people were like, oh, like, whatever, or you were a douche nozzle.
This all did happen in, like, one day, it seemed.
Yeah. So I think that they do that on purpose. So it's just, like, an easy edit thing. It's just, okay, like, trim the material. Don't, like, figure out, like, who to focus on. It'll come naturally, and they'll get booted off.
I think the answer is you gotta have those good chirons with people's name and a little like the heartbreaker.
No,
the
it costs too much,
boy.
Max.
They gotta show the chirons more often. Like, they would have this person talk for like 30 seconds and then show the chiron. And I'm like, I gotta know who's talking right away so I can be like, bring him up on this podcast. But you didn't tell me, so now I don't know.
And they could so easily do with some like, cutesy little calligraphy or something. They could Jane Austen it up.
They took calligraphy lessons. Why?
Right.
Like
Easy.
their last
they could
name
have
or whatever. Like,
they could have each person do their own signature. That would be fun.
It's just weird. Anyway, should we talk about this premise and how kind of silly and stupid this really is?
Sure.
Like, just to take the idea of let's put the Bachelorette, but like put it. What year did they say they were trying to put it? Like 1850s?
More early 1800s, I think, but yeah.
Earlier than that, like pretty like Little Woman era, and like it's always, of course, glamorizing the past because like this.
Sorry,
is definitely...
did you just conflate Little Woman and Pretty Little Liars?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I was thinking Pretty Woman, so not Pretty Little Liars. Which
you said Pretty Little Woman, so it's like
yeah, I was gonna say Pretty Woman, and they're like, wait, that's not it. It's Little, which is not. It's a different cross up that you were suggesting. Anyway,
sure, good catch.
So they're just kind of glamorizing the early 1800s. The times with chamber pots and no indoor plumbing, with like the best time for a woman to date. And I can't there's no dating in the 1800s. There is your dad picks the guy, and that's it.
I mean, it is the setting for literally every romance novel ever.
I don't think so at all. I don't think Danielle Steele's making any romance novel set in the early 1800s.
The ones that moms read, I don't know.
No, Max, because at that time period, it's all about the forbidden love, right? It's not the
right.
That's fair.
Let's go
Yeah.
about it.
Welcome,
Also,
Mr.
for
Noah
our
Singer.
audience, this is our erstwhile member Noah Singer. He's sort of jumping in and out, but yeah.
Jumping in and out, in the internet corner, sometimes has to have repair time, and so yeah. Thanks, y'all. Happy to be back.
Yeah, I agree with Noah here that I think that it's kind of forbidden love that happens in this era and probably earlier. There isn't a whole lot. This is probably the start of women trying to be okay, I can have some agency in this. But in general, it's still about the dowry. It's still about what kind of power and stuff you can get from your daughter. It's not patriarchal society, at least in the West. I don't know what the East was like, but this is clearly Western. So it's very odd to pretend it's modern, but in the 1800s is very weird.
Oh, it's very goofy. I mean, I think it's time to talk about the elephant in the room, which is this was clearly made because of the success of Bridgerton.
Oh yeah, Bridgerton and The Bachelorette had a baby.
Yeah,
this is it.
I was thinking about that during the show while watching. It's our everlasting question. It's this is made from Bridgerton. They just couldn't get it on air fast enough to catch a trend.
Seriously.
Can someone explain to me what Bridgerton is? Because I think I've heard of it, but I have never watched any of it.
It's on Netflix. Hot people in the early 1800s date.
Okay, so they also pretend that there's dating in the 1800s.
No, there's a lot of banging though.
Yeah, it's Jane Austen, but with banging.
Okay. The big controversy was season 1. A lot of bodies. Season 2, pretty tame.
Oh,
so everyone's upset.
I do remember hearing about season 2.
John Oliver
not having enough bodies, as you would say.
Hey, they're just being a tease.
That's why the Netflix stock went down. Pretty sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of subscribers over that for sure. Yeah. So I don't know if there's really. Where should we go from here? Anyone have any ideas? Oh, we could talk about the host. Can we talk about the host for a second? Yeah. So we got the host. He's Mr. Edwards, Rick Edwards. He is very confusing, so there's some controversy here, mainly on my end. So if you go to the IMDb page for this show, it shows Rick Edwards, but that Rick Edwards has 0 credits other than the Courtship. But if you go look up Rick Edwards, there's another Rick Edwards that has a bunch of credits. He was the host of Tool Time, BBC edition.
Not with the one with Tim Taylor?
Not Tool Time, Tool Academy. Good call, good catch. And he's done a bunch of stuff. He does a science podcast, and this is the real guy, and he has a real IMDb, but for some reason this show doesn't link to the real IMDb, and Brian thinks it's a conspiracy.
Yeah, I think that this dude is only fulfilling his contractual obligations and trying to nope out of this. Because it's a completely separate page. He could own it, and he does not. And his Twitter, he's got to advertise on his.
So the Twitter confirms it's a real person, because it's not on his Wikipedia page. It's not on his other IMDb page. But on his Twitter profile, he lists that he is the host of this show. So the mystery has been solved, but he does seem to be taking a step back from this whole show.
I like this guy. I thought he had good comedic timing. He's British, so it's just kind of natural.
He is by far the highlight of the show. And and that's not a very high. That's a better than baseline.
But I will go so far as to say I would watch this guy host another better show.
British Tool Academy.
Yeah.
Dude,
coming soon to the podcast.
Tool Academy UK sounds really fun.
You should listen to our Tool Academy podcast that we did, I don't know, 8 years ago at this point. It was very fun. Yeah. So let's see. I have the ratings for the show. So that's also something we could talk about. Is that the show premiered on NBC and then got bad ratings. So they moved the show to after Temptation Island on TBS.
On USA.
USA, sorry.
Fake news, Chris.
I don't know the difference.
I will say TNT and USA and TBS are all the same channel, right?
Yes.
I assume.
They're within that like mediocre cable TV bucket that just kind of blends together.
Okay, so here's the ratings. Episode 1, the one we watched, got essentially 1 million viewers. A little lower, but close enough. The next episode got 0.6 million viewers, which is when they moved it to TBS.
Well,
they immediately pulled that record.
And I think the first one went on right after like the Super Bowl or something.
3/6, March 6th. So not after the Super Bowl. But
not after the Super Bowl.
It could have been after some sort of Olympic event, though.
Maybe.
What I was about to say, for that pricing, they will never financially recover from that.
And then once it's on TNT or TBS or fucking True TV, wherever, is 0.08. And then 0.14 went up a little bit. And it's like around 0.1 the rest of the episodes. So
that's a big win for USA.
Clearly a popular show.
Clearly. We're really hitting our audience hard here on this one. Yeah, so that's kind of nuts. Didn't get quite the Prince Harry situation where they just didn't air the other episodes.
Well, that's gaslighting.
Or some other shows we've done where they just dumped all the episodes at once. At some point, I forget which. A couple shows like that happened.
I just remember You the Jury, where they just
You the Jury, they just stopped airing. They just stopped doing the show. There was one where we watched it was Jersey Shore, but it was like a winter cabin kind of show.
Oh yeah,
and they just dumped all the episodes at some point.
Man, that's kind of like for all those people that bought tickets to You the Jury, like go see it in person.
Yeah, all the tickets that they didn't give away for free.
Yeah.
All right. I think now is the time for
us to commend Noah on that good-looking sandwich. You don't need to say anything, but it's a good-looking sandwich.
We should just go over minutia. Any notes anyone really has on the show? I really just couldn't pay attention to the show.
I got a couple things.
Go ahead, Max.
So, okay, before a commercial break, Rick Edwards says henceforth on the Courtship, which I thought was fun. You don't see, hear henceforth too much. We gotta talk about follow your scent guy.
Oh yeah, the letter he wrote about he Tums and liking food, and then he had his he had his not perfume
cologne
on the letter.
And he said, follow this scent at the ball and you will find me. And I thought, what a great, ARG for this girl to play.
That was amazing. And then it was, promptly followed up by Captain Kim dropping, some note about sexual tension.
It's true. This is the letter section. Yeah. I was surprised she didn't do her one-on-one date with that guy. I have no idea what that guy's name is.
Oh, I'm not sure if this is true or not. I think maybe the one-on-one date had to be chosen from one of the 6 people.
Oh, yeah, I have no idea.
I'm not sure. I could be completely wrong.
I don't think so.
Brian says wrong, and I trust Brian.
Noah's also shaking.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, she could have chosen anyone.
Yeah, I think if you know that, you are going to bring somebody forward, don't go on the one-on-one date with them. Go with somebody else. Try to find out somebody else.
I don't know. Anyway, they kick off 3 people at the end. That was kind of nice.
That was great.
What was that one where we watched? They had 2 people, and it was like a bachelor situation, and they kicked off 1 person, and I was like, oh my god, how many episodes is it going to be? With 16
It may have been
people?
a double shot. Double shot of love?
No, it was something more recent than that.
Oh, I do know. It was the rich guy and the poor guy. It was the Joe
Millionaire. Yeah, New Joe Millionaire.
Did I just call it Joe Billionaire?
Anyway, so like kick off 3 people. So like you're coming down quick. At least hopefully they kick off more people. You can't, the show, like there's too many episodes with too many people. You really got to start getting that crowd a little thin.
That's fine. Like, I think bringing in a bunch of people and then like taking a bunch of them off is fine because you won't have to worry about remembering anything.
Captain Kim made the cut, so
yeah. Okay. Big question: how the hell did he get the title of captain?
He said he was in the Air Force or Navy or something.
Okay, that's fine.
So I think he was a Navy captain. That's what I'm going to go with. And he's like the maestro. He has to be called captain, even though he's not really a captain at the moment.
Can I go buy a boat from the captain?
I mean, yes.
Yeah, sir. Sure.
Sweet.
As long as you name the boat who put this on. The SS who put this on.
You're going to need some advertising money for that.
Yeah. Oh, I had a thought. Now it's gone, Brian. What did you do to me?
Oh, no.
Max, any other minutiae you got going?
Yeah. So the guy she did pick for the one-on-one date was so forgettable. Such a nothing burger.
I have no idea who that. I was trying to find that guy's name. No idea.
Mr. Bokinocchio.
Oh, man.
No, sorry, it's Bocchiccio. He's from New York. He tried to write a rap in his letter.
Oh yeah,
you knew more about him than I did.
Yeah, this guy was just nothing burger because they can't go do anything on dates besides walk around the grounds of this fucking castle.
I think that there is a fundamental problem with the production of the show. Everyone is wearing, 1800s. All men look the same apparently because they're all wearing fucking the same suit. So like you can't even differentiate anyone via anything. You all just look a generic fucking person in a suit. Like they just all look the same.
No,
so
it just means your personality shines through, Chris.
Not when I only watch 50 minutes of a TV show and I get introduced to 20 people. I have absolutely no idea who you are. And, outfits, make you look different, help a whole hell of a lot to know who the hell you are. Instead, they went with, like, crazy haircuts for a lot of people.
There were some crazy haircuts.
But, like, still, there's only so much you can do with balding men and, like, short haircuts. There's not, like, enough crazy haircuts for everyone to have a different haircut. You got Fabio on one hand, and then you just got generic guy with short black hair, and there's like 8 of them, from what I can tell.
Yeah, they all blended together. I absolutely could not keep track of them.
One thing to note, though, is they stole the Bachelor's key line. Are you there for the right reasons?
No, so, okay. You mentioned to me that, like, you think that, like, this is a lot of Bachelor rejects.
I did say that these are the Bachelor rejects.
I think you're right. And I just think that, like, I don't think that was allowed. I think that they just let it slip.
It's in the edit, Brian. It's allowed.
No, they're just riding with it because, like, they know nobody's going to sue them.
Yeah, I mean, no one's watching the show.
Yeah. But now it's either, I can maybe get back in The Bachelor if I just say for the right reasons. Or
maybe they're trying to be the Bachelor for the next version of this show.
You think this is getting a sequel?
No, but when you're in the show the first time, you don't like that could be your hope.
Yeah, I guess at that point, you don't know whether you're going to have to call it or
not. One thing on this note that I thought was weird is that they kicked these 3 people off, and every single one of them was so sad. Like, it looked like their heart was ripped out of their fucking chest. and they met this person less than 12 hours ago. It
That
is.
kind of always happens on The Bachelor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that always happens.
I'm
It's like the first
I'm not
episode, you're shocked
I'm not
how so
trying to
bad.
debate with you guys, The Bachelor, Bachelorette. I don't care what happens over there. I'm saying this is weird for somebody to like literally cry because this woman rejected him. And it's just like 12 hours ago, you didn't even know who this person was.
Chris, welcome to reality TV, baby.
I'm well aware. Doesn't mean I can't come on here and fucking complain about it.
Now, here's the question. Do you think that they are faking it in some way? Or do you think they just found like the most emotionally stunted people and brought them on?
I mean, they're obviously faking it. What do you mean, Brian?
I don't know.
They're like, now I can't be a social media influencer because I was only on the show for like 2 minutes. No one's going to know who I am.
I'll have you know Dr. Shanzer is already a social media influencer.
He's also a doctor, though. Have you looked him up?
Yeah.
No, what kind of...
I was confused on Dr. Shanzer. Like, he's a doctor, yet he's pulling out some, like, magic tricks to get her attention. Like, bro, you're like the doctor in the show.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about him, he described himself on the show as an anesthesiologist. He's a plastic surgeon anesthesiologist. You know, he's one of these guys who's just in it for the money in the biz.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Question is, would you vote captain over doctor?
Dude, you can be a captain and a doctor.
Oh, snap, Brian. He's got you.
That's fair. So then, yeah, you go with the doctor, and it's like, let's go get a boat. Boom.
Captain Doctor. Here's the Doctor Captain.
No, Captain Doctor is a better doctor. Doctor Captain is commander of the doctors.
You think that a Doctor Captain commands the other doctors? Or is a okay, all right. We got to move on. Let's just move to some questions, I guess. Unless Brian, do you have anything you want to talk about before we get to questions?
Not really.
Okay, all right. Who's the worst human being?
Dr. Schnauzer.
Dr. Schnauzer.
Yeah, he tried to like pull some gifts and shit. Like, no.
I don't know.
So this is the last guy who gets kicked off the show, and he says, "Wait, don't kick me off the show. I have this." He starts bringing out gifts, and he's like, "This is a red rock, and it'll fix your heart chakra." She's like, "No, you're out." He's like, "How can you do this to me?" She's like, "No, you're out." And he's like, "You're making a big mistake." And she says, "Your carriage awaits. Farewell." I do love when these shows have their own catchphrases for "You're out, get out of here, bitch."
Oh yeah, it was pretty good. Like,
but yeah, he's
go ahead.
He's the villain.
The theatrics of the show are pretty good. I'm gonna save. I was gonna save that for what I love about the show. So what do you love about the show? What I love about the show is the theatrics, the setting, and the commitment to the bit is like of the highest level. It's like this giant fucking, I wouldn't even call this a castle. I guess it's a castle. It's fucking huge. And everyone's dressed in the nines. Everyone like looks like they're from the 1800s kind of. And everyone's committed to this whole thing. And I think it's a good thing about the show.
Yeah, they use the language out. They call her the heroine. Is that right? Or
Yes.
The heron? I don't know.
No, that's a bird.
Ryan, what do you love about the show?
I like that they brought in the family. I thought that was an interesting way to try to process some of this stuff. Because usually are all alone, no support.
It's fair. Max, what do you love about this show?
I thought the host and even the Bachelorette were both fine to good. I thought she was fine.
I agree with you.
We really talked about her.
Maybe let's talk about it right now.
Did anyone go on LinkedIn? like anyone take my corner responsibility to find
Oh
herself
yeah,
or
of
engineer?
course, of course I looked her up on LinkedIn.
So what if
I added her as
yeah.
as a request.
Did you?
No, I didn't look her up on LinkedIn. That's Noah's job.
No, I actually did though. She works for some company called Making No, I think it's called Making.
It's called social media influencer.
I'll send you the link later.
I agree. I think she was great. I think she presented herself well as the Bachelorette, and she seemed to kind of fit right into this situation where there's 20 people trying to like woo you, I guess. It was just, which is always kind of a weird situation anyway to be in, but she seemed kind of natural, which kind of makes me question if she she's there for the right reasons or not. I don't know.
She had an interesting history. She was in architecture and then cheered for the Seattle Seahawks for 2 years and is now a software developer.
Damn.
And is now a social media influencer, I'm sure.
Well, she's going to be married, so, her future husband is on the show.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. Let's see. We got to do, we got to do drinking rules. So drink every time you look at your phone.
Oh boy, that's a rough one.
Max, what you got?
Have a wee sip of Chardonnay every time you feel fancy and you have to stick your finger out.
Do you have to have the Chardonnay glass too?
Sure.
Brian, what do you got for me?
Every time you hear the name Jane Austen, drink.
Let's go. Anytime they're drinking, you drink. Brian, you got another one?
Every time you see somebody's abs, drink.
Are we just coming with this stock reality show rules right now?
No. At least for that, like when I saw like the coming up on this season, there was a lot of shirtlessness.
Max, you got another one, or are you out? He's out. How about you drink every time they say a word that's out of fashion?
That's a good one.
Sure, yeah.
They didn't really stick to it as much. They tried to.
Their bit is, who knows if that. Noah just keeps sliding in and out of video.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking me for a second.
I was by the sink. I thought we were going to get more milk ready. But then didn't seem like I want more milk. Going back, cleaning stuff, etc. All things that are really useful on the podcast.
That's okay. Would this show be better as a Quibi or TikTok?
I don't know how to answer this.
I don't think so, because the show doesn't work in like 8 minutes. But I think my sanity would be better if this was a Quibi, because then I wouldn't have had to watch as much of it.
You paused there for a second. I thought like you were just gonna say, "No, the show doesn't work."
Let's see. Who's gonna hook up next? That's the question.
See, this is a good one with that question.
I agree with you if I knew anyone's fucking name. Oh, Max? What happened to Max?
I'm here. Do you hear me?
No, yeah, now I hear you.
Mom and Dad are going to hook up next.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm surprised I never talked about this. Like, it seems like some of the suitors are going to hook up with the friends.
Yeah. I was just going to say Tessa and Fabio are doing it.
Well, given that the sister has a different last name, maybe she's already married.
Oh, that wasn't the sister. That was the best friend.
Oh.
Tessa is the.
But there was also a Miss Baker, and her name is Miss Remick.
Yeah,
Baker.
I'm not saying Mrs. Baker's going to hook up with anyone. I'm saying Tessa's going to hook up with somebody.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Let her live her life.
No, there's going to be a menage a trois with Tessa, Mrs. Baker, and the Candlestick Maker. Brian, you screwed my
I
joke.
liked it, Chris.
All right, let's do our last question here. We do ratings. So we do a stack ranking system on the top, middle, bottom third compared to other reality shows. And some people might stack rank in their stack ranks. Max, what do you got for me?
Bottom third, I didn't despise it. Like, we've watched so much shit that I might put this in the top of the bottom. No,
Brian?
middle of the bottom. Middle of the bottom.
Okay. Brian.
I'm putting this bottom of the middle. You know, we've watched so much garbage that, like, I'm comparing this to all those things. It's better. I was happy with this. I actually lost track of time.
Brian, I'm tempted to agree with you that it's close to middle, but I checked out so fast that this cannot be in the middle. I don't think I've checked out faster in one of these shows. Like, I take notes, and I'm just so checked out I can't. There's no notes. It's got to be bottom third.
That's fair. Noah, you got a rating?
He's muted.
Yes.
He's working on
Yeah.
it.
Sorry. Yeah. It's definitely a bottom show. Like, you guys make good points. It shockingly does move, but there's nothing about it that says, give me more. And for that reason, I think it needs to go to the bottom. I do think because they hold the bid up so well, the production value is there. So bottom, for no reason, should be middle to bottom. You know, for like top of the bottom, but middle of the bottom.
Telling you, it's one of the shows I've checked out the quickest.
Yeah.
I was on my phone. I was doing a lot of your work. No, I was on the internet corner. I was looking stuff up. There's just nothing to look up for the show.
It's too many people.
Chris cares so little about the show, he didn't even ask what the production schedule is.
No one cares.
But you also went into, like, in depth to this host situation.
Because I was in the internet corner and I was really confused. So
He was the only good
audience
thing
needed-
about the show.
The audience needed to be confused with me, and we had to go through the same journey. All right, well, that's for our discussion this week. Tell us what you think we should watch next week. Right now, I think it's tentatively The Real Dirty Dancing. Tentatively. That's a show that exists out there in the world.
We already bailed on British Tool Academy.
Oh, if we can find it,
Okay.
that would definitely supersede that for sure. Maybe Netflix will have another garbage reality TV show too. Who knows? But tell us what you think at Who Put This On, and tell us what you think about this show on our poll at Who Put This on Twitter. Let's do some shout outs before we get out of here. Brian, shout out. What else you been doing? What else you been watching?
I finished Is It Cake?
Why?
Because I just needed a background show. And I was okay with that.
Oh my god.
Like,
Was it cake, Brian?
I really wanted some of those cakes. Like, there was a s'mores cake in there.
Was there any more cheating?
No. And that's also what made it a little bit better. If they just dealt with that, I would have probably been a lot happier with episode 1.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely went from middle third to bottom third, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And then
I will say, Brian, I also finished Is It Cake.
Who are you people?
It is not a good show, but it is the perfect show for, like, taking care of babies at home when you can give, like, 1 minute of attention for every 15 minutes. It's like, there's no plot. It's like, you know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know? So it was perfect for that.
I have
fully
to
agree.
I have to say that reality TV is probably also just in general good baby, television where
Yeah, when you don't need to
Nothing-
follow anything. Like, you just jump in and you're like, cool, okay. And
nothing
then for
really
the cake
matters.
was like, you just paused it and make sure you don't miss it, you know?
yeah. Brian, were you impressed with these cakes?
I was more impressed with the ending cakes when they actually didn't have to stick to these themes. The finale, like, they got to choose what they wanted to make, and it was actually more impressive.
So they could be like, I'm gonna make the birthday cake from, or like they can choose to make like a dresser or something.
Yeah, so I mean, I can spoil it if you want.
Obviously,
Okay.
you can spoil it.
Okay, so one of the dudes, Andrew, did a briefcase, like old timey like travel briefcase, like it's thick, it's like old leather, has clothes sticking out of it, stickers on it from like where you've been. And then another part of this was so obviously you get like the 4 mocks, and because like you got to choose your own thing, obviously they had to go and find these like mocks and stuff, and so they had some like good stuff for that.
So he had to come up with 5 other things that were a suitcase.
No, they got like 3 other suitcases because they actually reduced it down to 4 things, like 3 plus the cake. And then one person did a sewing machine.
They did that.
Sorry, what?
I'm surprised they did that.
I mean, it makes it easier it makes it hard to like actually stay in, but
So they actually did start kicking people off.
no, and that's also another cool thing about it is that like everybody stayed on, like they was doing these things, but then it was like a bracket thing, and then everybody's just watching, and then they do like sous chef type thing, bring one other person up to like help out with the final cake. Like that was actually kind of nice.
Anything else you've been watching, Brian?
Taskmaster season been pretty good.
Oh,
I watched 1 episode, but
I gotta catch up.
that Taskmaster. Episode 1 was good.
Yeah.
I haven't watched episode 2 yet. Max, do you have a shout out this week?
Yeah, so I just marathoned Raised by Wolves season 2.
Why?
I enjoyed season 1. Season 2?
Season 1 fell so far off a cliff, I couldn't even finish it.
Oh, I think it's worth finishing. Season 2, the first 4 episodes, I was like, why am I watching this? The last 4 episodes, I was like, oh, this is why I'm watching this. So I'm not sure I'd recommend it. It's the show has some major problems, but it's some of the most ambitious, interesting sci-fi I've seen in a long time.
I agree with you, Max. It was definitely ambitious, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I don't know, I don't care.
About it after this, but you should finish season 1.
Noah, did you want to shout out anything?
Shout out to Baby Shark.
Yeah, Baby Shark. We are currently giving him some vitals, so we'll shout out to Baby Shark, man. Actually, I am binging the new season of South Park, and it is excellent. Could not recommend more.
I agree. New South Park's good. Watch it.
wait, is there newer episodes?
There's like a couple episodes of the season out.
Okay.
On HBO Max. Not to be confused with the Paramount Plus movies that are also new South Park.
Yeah, the post-COVID and after post-COVID.
Those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with most of what everyone's watching. New season of Survivor's pretty good. Better Call Saul, amazing. Just catch up to that because that's really good. And I once again am disappointed in Disney's TV shows, as in Moon Knight is kind of wishy-washy, which is very disappointing and kind of annoying because it started out really strong. But that's what I get for expecting, their TV shows to be good or nearly as good as their movies. Max?
I got one other. I've watched 4 episodes of Apple TV has a British MI5 spy thing called Slow Horses. It's pretty good.
Yeah, one thing on the Disney, I mean, WandaVision was pretty solid, right? So I think they can do it.
I just think their movie, I really like their movies, and their TV shows are fine.
Yeah.
But I always get hyped, and it's all me. It's all me. Don't worry about it. It's all me.
No. I mean, I tried watching Hawkeye, and it just couldn't get me.
Yeah, it's fine. it's not wasn't a dumpster fire like the Captain Falcon one was. That was no good. The other ones have been fine. I can tell you.
I'm really glad you called him Captain Falcon. Show your moves.
Brings me back to my Smash Bros. Days. Thanks, Max. Anyway, if you want to yell at me because I said Captain Falcon, you can find us on Twitter at WhoPutThisOn. You can find us on Facebook.com/WhoPutThisOn. You can find us on TikTok at WhoPutThisOn Podcast. And you can email suggestions and questions at WhoPutThisOn@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time. No, why are you blurring me out, Brian? Stop it.